All right, so we've given people a couple of extra moments to join in, and for those who just did, welcome everyone and welcome to another chat of Celebrating Great CX. Today we have Joost and Ilias from Secrid with us today. But before we kick off, I'd also like to introduce myself. My name is Barbara. I'm from Mate4. For those of you who don't know us, we're a customer experience learning organization where I work as a learning designer and producer of many of our boot camps. Before we're going to start and I hand over to Joost and Ilias, I'm really curious to understand from who are here today, who of you are familiar with Secrid? So if you can maybe raise your hand, either on camera or with the raise hand option. I see a little applause there. I see another hand up. That's really nice. All right, a couple of you already. Another raised hand, great. A thumbs up even. All right, that sounds really nice. So for those of you who know it already, I hope you can get even more inspiration from today's chat. And those of you who are fairly new with the brand can get a bit more of a better understanding of what they're all about in the next couple of 30 minutes. So before I hand over, just a friendly reminder during the chat to mute yourself. If you have any questions or you want to clarify anything, you can put it in the Zoom chat. We will make sure to handle all of your questions then at the end of the presentation. If you'd like to put your camera on, we'd always encourage you to do so. That makes it a bit more nicer to see people in front of everyone. And that is it. So guys, Ilias and Joost, thank you so much for joining today. And please take away. I will share to your presentation. And let's go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Barbara, for your introduction. So we're going to talk a bit today about collabs by Secrid, made for Mate4. So if you can go to the second slide, I'll give you a short introduction. So my name is Joost from Rheenen. I'm here today with Ilias Halbgewachs. Unfortunately, we didn't have a picture of us, the two of us, where we were laughing a bit more, but you can see we both like the color Bordeaux a lot, and we both work for Secrid. Ilias as a marketing strategist, and myself as a collab owner. So yeah, that's that. And today we want to talk, you can go to the next slide. Today we want to go briefly through the what, the how, the why. Normally people do it the other way around, or a marketing guru does it this way. We prefer to do it or explain it via this way. So we can go to the next slide. So what is Secrid? It's fairly simple. We are a card holder or wallet brand. And you can, yeah, so we've been producing card protectors. I hear someone in the background, but I'm not sure if it's possible to mute yourself. Yeah, thank you. We've been creating card protectors since 2009. And a year later, we combined, you can go to the next slide. We're going rather fast through the slides. We reimagined the wallet industry where we combined the card protector as we make them ourselves with the more traditional wallets where you just have a leather flap where you can create, combine these two and you get the Secrid mini wallet where you can store all your cards and your cash at the same place. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. And again. So this is very simple, just what we're doing. And how we are doing this is, I'm gonna talk about in the next slides. So at first we create our products to last. So this means that there's a lot of time going into designing the products that last a long time. So we don't want to create something that will only have a lifespan of a year. Like I said, we started in 2009 and we still have some users from the first batch that are using their Secrid still as of today, and it still works really good. Then the second one is we have very local production. So we produce everything in the Netherlands. And we do this by working very closely with a lot of suppliers. One of those is where we assemble the products. That's a social enterprise. We work with multiple throughout the Netherlands, but our biggest one is based just outside of Leiden. When it comes down to distributing our products, we have a very retail-first mindset. It doesn't mean that we don't work with e-tailers or online customers, but we've always done or did focus on the brick and mortar retailers. We really feel that they are the best storytellers, and it's the best place for us, a product that needs some explanation, that you can see it in the store and really get the good service from a sales staff or a sales employee to talk about all the different stories that come with Secrid. So we feel this is the best place to share our stories and to sell Secrid through. Then aftercare is a really important one. Like I said, we create to last. Sometimes, unfortunately, something does go wrong or a small defect might occur. We've produced everything so that it's fairly simple to repair all these minor defaults. So we have a lot of repair points already in Europe especially, but also our distributors and sales partners throughout the world know that it's fairly simple to repair a wallet, and we always prefer to repair a wallet instead of replacing it. So yeah, this is basically how we do business. Then why? Then I'm giving the word to Ilias.
Yeah, so thanks, Joost. Everything that you just explained about Secrid, obviously these are choices that we make, choices of going one way rather than another. And these are choices based on a belief. And to understand that belief a little bit, I want to take you back a little bit through the history of Secrid. So the Secrid was founded by Rheenen and Marianne, together with one of their employees, Paul. And one of their employees at the company which they had before, if you can go to the next slide, they had a design studio where they worked for many different brands to design products. So any company, whether it's a phone or a child seat or whatever, obviously needs to have a design, needs the production system to be laid out. Oftentimes this is given to design studios. The design studios can offer things, can show things, can give suggestions, but in the end, obviously the company often decides. And the work that Marianne and Rheenen did in this, they traveled the world, they saw how production happens. Oftentimes in the years that they did, production was outsourced to East Asia. Oftentimes maybe not agreeing with the choices that a company necessarily makes in how to make the final product, but obviously in the end, the company decides. So that was how it was to a certain degree until 2009, when the financial, if you can go to the next slide, of the black hole of the financial crisis, which the work for the design studio sort of dried up, which gave essentially, one obviously is a big crisis, but on the other hand was a way to restart. If you can go to the next one. So it was a way to, rather than doing things the way that another company wants, to actually do it the own way, so the Secrid way. And that is working from the purpose which Secrid has, the beliefs, the core beliefs that Secrid has. If you can go to the next one. We've now sort of defined to a degree, it's very much a feeling and understanding that we very much share, that we have put into words in this way, inspire the industrial evolution. If you can go to the next one again. So the industrial evolution is obviously a play on the industrial revolution, which is a very important and very big thing in how we consume, how we produce, how the world is oriented. If you can go to the next one again. What we did obviously in the Industrial Revolution is that there was a lot of focus on getting more things. Right? For the longest time in human history, we have produced essentially the same amount of output. And during this time, we had a super fast increase of output. We could create a lot more by creating a lot cheaper. But for a large part of the world at the moment, it is no longer about creating more. It is more about creating the right things. So being efficient with what you create. The revolution created a lot of waste, a lot of single-use items. We now are looking for a world where we can reuse, repurpose, recycle things. Where it used to be cheaper, so cheaper and more, basically the same thing. it's now looking at how can we produce things that are better. And obviously the Industrial Revolution and the economic system that we created out of this created a very short sort of horizon, very much next quarter deliveries rather than looking at what is in it for the world, for the next generations. So rather than following this revolution and continuing this, we're going for the evolution. And what it is in a nutshell is if we look at everything and at every renewal, everything we do new, extra, is an improvement, and that's a very broad term, so better in many ways, morally, functionally, on all degrees. If we only make things that are better, then we only replace things when we have something better. The world in total will get better. So this is the thing that the sort of idea that we want to convey to the rest of the world. That's the core of Secrid. And to do that, we started by building the Secrid brand, which Joost will tell a bit more about.
Yeah, thank you. So for the past 12 years, we've been very busy with building the Secrid brand for itself. So if you can go to the next slide. And we've done this in our way. So as we discussed it, so we've just been producing the wallets, selling them. We've taken care of the planet in our own way, or tried to act with respect to it by using the right materials, and try to do it as safe as possible. And throughout these years, we had a lot of requests from other brands. Since we were the first car protector brand, it was something new at that time. We got a lot of requests for white label, big brands coming to us, asking if they can put their brand logo on our product and sell it for themselves. Also some co-branding inquiries received, or giveaways. But for a long time, we felt that we first had to build the Secrid brand to be treated as an equal in this collaboration. So for the past, I would say 10 years or 9 years, we've said, no, thank you. Maybe in the future, but not for now. Now we feel that it's more important to build the brand. And we did. So if you could go to the next slide. For all these times, we've worked really hard to expand this retail first strategy. And we've come to give or take 8,000 retail points or stores globally. And we're available in 70 countries, which I think fairly nice results so far. And by doing this, we entered a lot of stores, but also a lot of department stores and like the bigger stores. And we are literally now no longer below some brands, or maybe a not known, well-known brand, but we are amongst these brands. On the right side, you see a picture of our Printemps brand corner, which is one of the most luxurious department stores in France, where we are next to brands like Hugo Boss, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. We're amongst all these big brands, and as we refer to within the company, we are playing the Champions League right now. Not the ones intentionally set up by the English ones, but the real Champions League. And if you can move forward to the next one. By doing so, so building the Secrid brand first and saying no to all these inquiries from other brands. Oh, I'm losing my screen. Unfortunately, these brands, they did see the need for these wallets, so they just produced them themselves. They went on to farther away Asian countries, or somewhere maybe low paid countries. They tried to produce or create the wallets themselves, but with their own choices. So mostly as cheap as possible. And if it's not really good for the environment, that's not really our problem. We just want to create this cheap wallet. So on the left side, you see a picture of a lot of counterfeit products, all unique in their way. I think last week we had someone at the office placed all of them on a table, and there were around 600, if I'm not mistaken. So there are 600 counterfeit products or other companies or brands that try to recreate the Secrid wallet. So this, of course, is a very negative result from saying no thanks to collaborating with other brands. And at the same time, if you can move forward, it did give us a lot of headache because many of these cases we had to fight maybe sometime in court. But yeah, we have a very good brand protection team, and I'm very happy with the guys working in the office and the girls or women working in the office to tackle and fight these cases. But it does give Secrid a lot of headache, which isn't always, yeah, the nice thing. So we really had to rethink, and this is where Ilias takes over again.
Yeah, so what Joost just described, obviously, if you look at what our purpose is, creating a world in which we have these better evolution of how we create products, how we produce, how the world produces. To inspire that, we're basically going the wrong direction with at least that part of the thing. So we thought we'll rethink it. How do we make sure that our impact on the world is positive, that all these other companies that want a product like this can actually work for our purpose rather than against it. And one of the first collab we did was with Freitag, a Swiss company famous for recycling tarpaulin from trucks. So very environmentally sort of focused brand. And we did a collab with them because we, as a company, really looked up to them. They were an inspiration for how to set up a company or how to run your business. And they're about 15 to 20 years older than us. So we worked together with them to learn from them how to reuse the materials, to make something that is a non-leather version of our iconic wallet, to reach their fans as well. But maybe the thing that lasted more than any of that, is how much we learned from them and how much we were inspired by the way they do things already beforehand, but obviously during the working together with them, learning from them. Holacracy, I don't know if anyone is familiar with this organizational scheme, something that Freitag has used for a few years and that we have been introduced to via them, which has then become very important for Secrid as well, as how to organize ourselves in a sort of democratic manner. So we remembered this, how much we learned from each other, and we thought that's a way forward. That's a way we can inspire others, hopefully. So Bar, if you can go to the next one. So we looked at sort of the field around us, what sort of brands exist. This is just, obviously, Joost described over 600 different ones. This is just a few of them. So we looked at it and looked at, okay, which ones match, or could we potentially collaborate with to drive forward our industrial evolution, inspire it. So obviously there's a few ones, if you can click once, Barbara, there's a few that sort of are eliminated by the fact that on values we don't really match. The products that they create are not a product that is necessarily better. It's some of them are a simpler version or a cheaper version or an easier version of our product, not a better one, not a more lasting one actually. Other ones on values, on how to deal with the environment, how you deal with people, don't match up. So those are eliminated. Then there's a few that we there may be a possibility to do something with them. We're maybe not super familiar with the way they work, or we don't know if we can do it, but could very well work. And then there's a group here, obviously the green ones, where we see there's a really good chance to advance this industrial evolution with them. So for different reasons, obviously a company like Patagonia themselves have a really big leader, global leader, on how to inspire change in how you run a company and how you do things. And other companies like Bosch or Porsche, very famous, very well known. A lot of people see it when they talk, people listen. So working with them and being able to inspire them could actually inspire many, many more people again from that point. So we looked at it. So if we can have these partners, if we have these partners that we would want to work with, if you can continue once more, or twice more actually, then we have different ways of doing that. So the first one, if you can click once more, is the way we did collaboration with Freitag. So it's a real product that we created together. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. It's not something that you can do very often. It's something that you can talk about a lot. So especially through the marketing about it, you can have a huge impact and talk about this, right? Get people to talk about the ideas behind it. inspire in that way to get people thinking about it. But obviously, it's by definition going to be rare because you can't do this that often. So the second one, which is like a code name for us, is Secrid Inside, is a way to use essentially ingredient branding to advance this purpose. So ingredient branding is something that most people will be familiar with from, for example, Shimano, who make the brakes on or the gears on bikes, or Brembo, who make the brakes on cars, who by themselves, although they're an ingredient in a larger product, that actual ingredient with its values, with the brand that is connected to it, actually improves the entirety of the larger whole. So a car with Brembo brakes is better. Every self-respecting car sort of company has Brembo brakes. So this is a way we're also pursuing. And what we want to do with that is actually offer the opportunity for a brand who wants to step into this market as well, to give them, if you can go back once, sorry, to give them a chance of sort of getting on the industrial evolution bandwagon, right? Get them on board, make sure that they can go with it, and offer them the chance to do so. If the only option they have is to go to a production way that we don't agree with, we will have to give them the opportunity to do it the right way. And obviously, by these brands, by the people who see that, we expect to reach and inspire many more people as well. Then we can move on. And then I'll hand over to you again, Joost.
Thank you. So just to give you briefly a few case studies, we have much more, but we just wanted to highlight a few before we head forward to the questions. But yeah, to see the purpose, like inspire others in practice, we wanted to show or elaborate one project that we did with Lufthansa, which is a German air freight company or airline company, who we collaborated with, and we produced a wallet made of recycled leather from their old planes. And by doing so, we showed them that it's possible to create products in a fairly decent way, or to recycle, to like Ilias said, if we make every new item or renewal slightly better or reuse, it's good for the world. And we really showed them the success of this, and I'm not sure how many wallets we made, but they were sold out very, very fast. And this is now an ongoing project for them, where they do this throughout their entire chain. They look for possibilities to follow the industrial evolution, or to act on its behalf, to find possibilities, to reuse products, or to use the right materials in a lot of their departments. Another one is on the right, where you see a collaboration we did with the Rijksmuseum, which is a museum in Amsterdam. They are very good in selling a lot of products in their gift shop, but they also sell a lot of, I don't want to say cheap souvenirs, but not high-end or premium souvenirs. They're mostly just made in very large quantities, and how they are being made is not really their responsibility as they saw it, but really looked with them to see if we can create a souvenir that is sustainable and that can last for a long time. And they also see this change, and it's fun to see that their buyers now, I think, only buying or rebuying very high quality products instead of like the things you put in your fridge. Of course, they still have them, but they really try to make a change in their assortment. And then Ilias is going to highlight one more and give you a small sneak preview.
Yeah, so the one last one that we're gonna talk about quickly is a collaboration that we're bringing out with Hugo Boss, and this is a particularly interesting one from the rethinking perspective, I think, because we heard from the grapevine, industry is small, that Hugo Boss was developing a similar product. And rather than waiting for it to come to market, decided to pick up the phone, call them up, and say, "Look, we know you're bringing out a product like that. We don't know where you source it, but we we know you're not sourcing it with us. Would you be interested in, rather than doing it like that, collaborating with us? We will provide a product, made in the way that Joost just explained. Would you be interested in doing that? So essentially, would you be interested in a more expensive product? And Hugo Boss, to their, immediately responded very positively to that. They recognize the value of a product made in this way, something that they feel their customers are gonna appreciate as well. An extra story that they can tell. And in this way, we were able to essentially reshore the production of this product from being outside of Europe to within the European Union with all the standards obviously that come with it. This is not going to be a product that is going to sell anywhere near the numbers obviously we see with our normal product, because also of the price range. But it is something that is great for us to be able to inspire Hugo Boss to tell this story as well about working in social enterprises and producing it locally. So that's it. And then if we move on to the next one, obviously we can't show all of them, but there's quite a lot more to come. Some of them totally new, some of them also from the companies that we've already collaborated with, that they were very happy about how we could make something together, and we're working on follow-ups. So that's it.
Great,
Are
thank
there
you
any
so
questions?
much, Ilias and Joost. That is a really good question. Let's have a look in the chat. Also, for all the other questions, or people have other questions, feel free to either raise your hand so that we can have a bit of a conversation rather than just doing everything in chat. I do see that there was one question though from Agnes, so let's start with that one first. You mentioned that you don't do co-branding. How is the Hugo Boss case different in that sense?
Well, it isn't. What Joost said is that for many years we decided to not do any co-branding. So we didn't do this for many years until we were at the point where we felt that the company or the brand that we built had a sort of a right of existence by itself. Because we believe that if we would have done it earlier, we would have become merely a product, a supplier of a piece of equipment to these brands, and we would not be able to, so we would only be able to give them a product, but not the way of working, the story and everything behind it. We first needed to put ourselves essentially on a podium where a Hugo Boss would listen to us and think, okay, you guys might know what you're talking about. So that's why we didn't do co-branding then, and now we will do. Hope that makes sense.
I see a thumbs up, so I think that makes sense. Great, thank you so much for that. Another question from Michiel, I see. What is the next step in the evolution? It's a very deep one, also very curious about your answer there.
Yeah, that's a very good step. Evolution is random, so it's really hard to predict. I think what we're trying to go for is essentially to move away from the idea of having more and more efficient, having more for the same. This is something that obviously was incredibly useful to us in a certain stage of development, and still is in many parts of the world. This is a step that needs to be taken to lift people out of poverty. But in most of the world, or of the world where we probably are in, the people watching this, the problem is no longer can we make enough stuff. It is, are we not making too much? Are we making the right things? So what we're looking for is to have those discussions or those steps, every single aspect of them being an improvement. So if you look at, okay, we're going to make a new product. Is a red shirt really better than the blue shirt we had last season? Or is this new shape that we have, is it actually better, or is it just a different thing so we can sell something new again? And the same way, if we make a new product, can we produce it a little bit better than we did last time? Can we produce it a little bit more with a bit more sort of respect for the people or the environment than we did last time? If we keep making these steps forward, and every time with every choice, we really say, okay, this is actually, even if it's 1% better than the last one, I think that's, if we would go in that direction, we could do a lot worse.
Will there be
Thank
other
you. I hope
products,
that was.
Ilias?
Sorry,
Will there be other products in the end?
from us.
Yeah.
That is definitely on the in the cards, let's say. But I can't say much more than that.
Thanks a
That's
lot.
immediately also an answer to the question of Clara. I see a couple of questions still, and I know that we're a bit over time. So what I'm going to ask both of the guys is maybe that they can provide me with the answer so that we can definitely share it with the rest, and have the questions answered from David and from Fanta and from Ashin as well. I hope that it's okay, that we'll be in touch then a bit more about that. What I'd like to do to everyone here is thank you so much for attending. Very grateful also for Joost and Ilias for sharing their story and joining on behalf of Secrid. It's really lovely to have you here, really interesting story to tell. For the people attending, just as a last thing, I'm really curious about how you've experienced the session here today. So I'm going to launch a quick poll where you can let me know how you've experienced it, with 1 as a grade being very poorly and 10 you had a great experience. And that is then it for me. I wish you a really happy day for the rest and looking forward hopefully to seeing you in our next session. Thank you so much, everyone.